This next one is My Girl. I would say this is a classic. I believe a lot of people from the 90s who grew up in the... I'd say if you grew up in the 80s/90s, because this movie was released in 1991. So it is a little older for even me, but I watched it when I was probably around 10-ish, I'm gonna assume. But it is about this 11-year-old girl. Again, it's at that prime of I'm not a kid, but I'm learning to be a teen type of scenario. It's when you start thinking about boys and why you're different from other girls, all that kind of stuff. So it's this character, Veda. She's a tomboy. She grew up, her mother passed away giving birth to her, and her dad runs a funeral home outside of their actual house. So he does all the stuff in their basement, and he holds the funerals in like a little parlor that is part of their house. So she kind of grows up in this morbidity. So she does come off across a little odd, a little out there, just because, and again, I think it's because of her circumstances, right? So a lot of the girls think she's weird, and she has a little boy who's her friend, and that is played by Macaulay Culkin. And this movie will make you cry. I'm not going to tell you why if you haven't seen it, but it is a very touching movie. It really covers, little girls growing up, and especially sometimes the certain things that might happen in life and how a young person might have to endure and come to understand the world earlier than maybe they should have. And so maybe that's why they come across as a little more odd, obscure, but they just have more knowledge of the world, unfortunately, at such a young age. So this one is a very touching and moving movie. I would highly suggest watching it. And again, it takes place in the summer because it's when Veda is off of school for the summer. The next one on my list would be Summer Catch. I only watched this a few times. It would have been in my early teens because it came out in 2001. And it stars Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel. And Jessica Biel comes from a wealthy family. It is set in Cape Cod. And her family goes there to vacation for the summer. And then there's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, who is not well off. He's got to work towards, going to college and getting a scholarship and all of that. And he plays baseball. But his dream is to become a huge baseball star and sign a contract. So it's basically they meet each other and they fall in love. And it's that typical, you're not good enough for my daughter because you're not rich, blah, blah, blah type of scenario. But I thought it was cute. Again, it's set in the summer. So that's why I thought of this movie to watch if you wanted something to watch this summer and feel nostalgia. Next on my list is The Iron Giant. It was released in 1999. It is about an alien robot who falls to Earth, and a little boy, he's 9 years old, named Hogarth, ends up coming across this robot and befriending him. It's set in the summer because I believe he's either near the end of school or off school. And again, I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe I can't remember. It might not be in the summer, but I thought this one was cute. It's nostalgic. It's set in 1957 is the era that this movie is set in. From what I remember, it's like he's a machine that's meant to like pew pew. So it's basically trying to show how a little boy forms this relationship with this essentially weapon that it's supposed to be, and how it can make this robot soft and caring and nurturing, compassionate. It's just a really cute, feel-good movie. I totally had forgotten about it until I was doing my research of movies that came out in the 90s and came across this one, and I was like, oh yeah, like I remember watching this over and over, and I believe my younger brother liked it too. So I think it'd be interesting for kids to watch for the summer. And then last but not least is Free Willy. This one came out in 1993. I grew up watching this movie so many times. I loved it. I think I mostly liked the part that it was a whale, to be honest with you, when I was a kid. But the whole premise is there is a young boy named Jesse, and he is part of the foster care system. And he's a little troubled. He gets into a lot of trouble. And he ends up breaking into this, not an aquarium, but like this theme park. Kind of like here in Canada, we have Marineland. I'm forgetting what it's called. SeaWorld. So it's that kind of premise, and he breaks into this place because he was hanging out with a bunch of other kids that are part of the system and homeless kids. And so I believe, if I stand corrected, he makes a bet and they break into this facility and they end up spray painting Willy's tank. He gets caught by the police, and then he is brought to the police station. Then he is placed in a home, a foster home with, I believe the woman's name's Annie, and I'm forgetting the man's name, but it's a couple. They take him in, and he also has to fix the facility he ruined. So that's his job for the summer. And while he's there, he befriends the orca whale, Willy. And along the way, he also makes friends with the whale trainer there. She essentially helps him become acquainted with Willy. So she teaches him how to feed Willy and train him. He eventually ends up getting in the water with Willy, and he grows this really close bond with this whale. But he realizes that Willy was actually taken from his pod. So he wants to get him back into the ocean. So this one is a really good, touchy-feely movie. He also befriends I believe he's an indigenous man who has stories about the orca whales. And that's where he learns the background of Willy and all of that. So he forms a lot of friendships. He gets really close with the foster parents that he's with because they really care about him. And yeah, again, it's just a really good feel-good movie. If you love animals, it's a great one to watch. So that is it for me today. I just wanted to give you the list of movies that I used to watch in the summer as a kid on those rainy days or days that I was bored and didn't feel like playing outside because it's too hot. Yeah, so I hope you get to watch those ones. Let me know if you watch them, if you like them, if you've seen them before, if you grew up with them. Let me know in the comments. Also, if there's other newer movies that you've come across for summertime that are either set in the summer or just being released this summer, let me know in the comments, because maybe I'll check them out too. I'm always up for watching new movies. So until next time, guys, happy movie watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.